Good morning and happy Saturday from a chilly Florida. My name is Michelle and I'm with Olive and 2U Studios right here in Central Florida. Very happy to have you with us on this chilly Saturday morning, wherever you are. I hope you're comfortable and cozy and maybe have a nice cup of something warm to keep you warm. Our Yarnies are here. I love seeing them. Liz is here. Katrin's here. Deborah's here. Karen's here from Scotland. Tracy's here. Liz, Alistair, and Julie are here. We're going to get to them shortly, or at least one of them. Kit is here. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. We have a very special episode for you today here at Olive and 2U Studios. Before we jump into that, I want to invite you to subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already done so, make sure and hit the subscribe button and then click the bell for notifications. We're here every single Saturday morning, typically at 9:30 in the morning Eastern time here from the United States. And if you're unable to watch it live, you can always go to the video tab over on our channel and watch all the previous videos. So happy to have you here this morning. Michelle is here as well. Kim, Doris, Cindy, so happy to see everybody. This is a very, very special episode of the podcast this morning because I've got two very special guests with me. So recently, you know, the Yarnies travel over to Scotland. That's one of the things that we do is we do custom tours to Scotland for Yarny people. The good news is it's not just for Yarny people. We often have spouses or friends who don't knit go along, and there's plenty to keep everybody excited. In fact, we've got an upcoming trip to Scotland. If you check in the show notes, you'll see it there. But one of the great pleasures of taking the Yarnies to Scotland is being able to meet the people. That's what we love to do. We love to really get to know the people in Scotland, get to know the rich fiber history, the textile history there, and see what's happening. One of my favorite things to do is meet the sheep. Yes, I talk to the sheep. You're so gorgeous. I talk to the sheep. But anyway, so one of the yarn shops that we had the great pleasure to get to know on our last trip to Scotland was Untangled Yarns in Galashiels, Scotland. Julie is the owner there, and she had just opened a very short period of time before the Yarnies from the United States showed up on her doorstep and suddenly were in her shop. And it was a crazy rush of yarn and chatting because you know what? Fiber friends are the best friends. No matter where we go, we always make fiber friends. Julie and I really connected, and we've kept up our relationship in the intervening months. And we've been working on some plans, but I'm going to have you wait a little later to get to that. Also, later in the podcast, we've got some showing of some brand new yarn in the shop and some chat about some upcoming events. So you don't want to miss that, including our upcoming trip to Scotland. So without further ado, I want to get the real stars of the show up here. So I'm going to introduce you to Julie and Kez from Untangled Yarns in Galashiels, Scotland. And Julie's laughing, which is what she's often doing. I love that about you guys. You have a good time. Good morning or good afternoon. What time is it in Scotland?
2:30 in the afternoon.
2:30 in the afternoon. So it wasn't too early for you all to get up and be here with us.
No, we've had sufficient caffeine by now.
Perfect. Yeah. So just to introduce everybody, since there's two of you on the stage, Julie is the one holding that adorable pup whose name is Ricky. He might end up being the star in the end. And then Kez is wearing that beautiful striped top. So we're so happy that you're both able to be with us this morning. So I want to start with this question because I always find this really, really interesting when I talk to fiber people. What is your origin story? How did you both come to fiber arts? Like, who taught you? Was it your grandma or a neighbor? Or, you know, how did you end up in the fiber arts? Julie, let's start with you.
Okay. I started at really quite a young age, probably about 5-ish, 6, something like that. And I think I've touched on this story with you before. I knitted a horrendous grey garter stitch sock for my dog who had a sore leg. But essentially it was just a grey tube. There was no heel turning, there was no sole. It was a grey tube of horrible, rough, greasy yarn. That was my first toe in the water.
Okay, I have to hear, what's greasy yarn?
it came straight from the mill. My dad was a mill worker, and I think it accidentally dropped in his bag. So, yeah, it often happened.
But I bet your dog wore it happily, right?
She did. We had whippets when I was a child, and whippets are they're always cold, love their comfort, and are just little divas.
Yeah, that's perfect.
She did,
Uh-oh. There we go. It froze a little bit. The internet
and
froze a little.
that's probably my earliest environment.
Okay,
Yeah,
great. And Kez, what about you? How did you
and
turn up? Oh, sorry. We have a little bit of a lag.
carry on.
No worries. I actually wanted to stop smoking. So I quit that day and sent my partner out to go and buy the things. I don't know why it was knitting. I can't remember why I decided to learn knitting, but it was like, that's what I'm going to do. So yeah, I got the staff and got YouTube up. I didn't have anybody to teach me, so I just used YouTube. And that was me, and I never looked back. Yeah.
How long ago was that?
That was, I think, coming on 7 years.
Okay,
Yeah, 6.5, 7 years.
you've done a lot in that time because now you were actually dyeing yarn prior to Julie dyeing yarn. Is that right?
Yes.
Did you dive right into dyeing yarn?
Now, when did I learn to dye? A couple of years after I learned to knit, I was gifted some bare yarn and some dyes for my birthday, and I gave it a shot and just fell in love with it. And then a year later, decided to start my own business,
Wow.
selling it. So yeah, I was a stay-at-home mum. I had really young children at home, and it was just an opportunity to kind of do something for myself, really.
Wow, good for you.
Thank you.
We both have a tendency to hurl ourselves into new hobbies. So we're probably not the best combination.
Did you all know each other before? Like, did you know each other when Kez started knitting, or how did that relationship come about?
We worked briefly together in the previous shop. I think on a Saturday we used to have a day together, and just kind of hit it off. I couldn't imagine having Kez here. There was no ambiguity. I knew who I wanted in the shop beside me.
That's fabulous. Isn't it funny how the universe sort of conspires to make those connections for us and make things happen? Julie, how did you, so you both were connected to the shop prior to you owning it. Can you tell us a little bit about your path towards owning the shop and what that looked like?
Essentially, it came around really quickly. I was still working in care, but I knew I was coming to the end of that time. So Naomi, who previously owned the shop, had a vacancy. I applied, I did that on my days off. And randomly, I was asked, how would you feel about owning your own wool shop? And that was pretty much it. From that point on, I contacted Business Gateway and worked with them for a few months and built up a profile, built up a business plan. And it took off from there. I think for both of us, because we did talk about it a lot and what we wanted from a yarn shop, and a big part of that, at the heart of it all was building a community and having a space for people to be and connect.
It sounds like your past history in care kind of informed the direction that you wanted the shop to take. And Kez, I've always gotten the sense from you that you're right alongside with that vision. Is that right?
Yeah, definitely. I've worked in the hospital for many years as well, so not in the same capacity as Jules, but we're both people, you know. We just enjoy spending time with people and yeah, creating that community. That was so important to us. And our vision for it was just lined up so
very
well.
much
You know,
so.
we were just like chatting, and in the months before we opened, we realised how sort of aligned we were with our views and our values, and yeah.
And despite the age gap between us both, you know, we do think very similarly on a lot of things.
Many.
Yes. And despite the fact that we claim we're introverts, we do actually really love meeting people. And we hope that that comes across when we do have people coming into the shop, and when we take an interest in what people are doing. It is heartfelt, it is genuine.
Absolutely. Well, I think there's
every person.
I think there's such a thing as an extroverted introvert. I've learned that over the years because I think that's what I am. I'm an extroverted introvert, and people find it hard to imagine because I talk a lot. But then I have to have my time to kind of recoup.
Mm-hmm.
Julie, I'm interested. You've always mentioned that you're in care. You and I kind of had that kind of resonance because of my background in social work.
Yeah.
What sort of care did you do? Care encompasses a lot. So what did you do?
I started off in care of older adults, in dementia care, when I was 17, and then I kind of went around all the different sectors, but predominantly it was in adults with learning disabilities. That was kind of where my heart lay, and I took my work home with me. Alice and I had Neil live with us for 20 years.
Wow.
And that is the fingers on the logo. Those are Neil's hands. So yeah, he's not here physically, but there is still a part of him that's around. So
That's amazing.
and you know, people with learning disabilities, they add to the richness of our community, and you know, they're often so undervalued. You know, yeah, it's
I love
great
seeing
bunch of
both of
people.
your hearts. I know I can just see both of your hearts in the times that we've talked and shared together. And the other way that I really saw your hearts is when we went into the shop. You have this amazing seating area where people just sit and gather and are drawn to, which again, I love that community. So I'm asking you a question off the top of your head. Give us a couple stories about some of the most interesting things that have happened, or people from far away as whatever who have landed in your seating room. Because I bet there's some stories.
I'm just trying to think of the ones we could share. The one we often talk about is when we had Fiona and Carmen sitting together.
Yeah.
And it's probably one of the best examples of the eclectic mix of people we get. We had a journalist from Radio 4, surgeon who was extremely frustrated because she couldn't stitch her knitting together, but could stitch a body together. Somebody with an acquired head injury, and somebody with a learning disability. And there was no difference. It was such a leveler. And that was everything we wanted. There have been times we've stood at the counter and just looked over at that area, and it's like, it's the best job in the world.
Yeah, it really makes a difference in people. And I think fiber, yarn, the whole fiber industry and what we do with it really is the great equalizer among people. I mean, you can be super wealthy, super educated, but you know, the first time you pick up those needles and yarn, you're like, I don't know. And you know, we always tell people it's just strings and, you know, sticks and strings, but it's not. And you can, you know, just see the fear. And so, and you can have somebody from the totally opposite end of the spectrum, somebody who's perhaps more impoverished, not a lot of education, who knows exactly what they're doing with that, and watching the two of them mix together. I've seen it happen, and it is definitely the great equalizer and wonderful to watch happen. So
when we see these things happening, there is no other place you would want to be. It's the same with the ladies that come in.
I was going to say that. We've got a group of women who came in recently asking to learn to knit. They're Turkish. They've been here a very long time, but sometimes in small areas, I'm sure it's the same over there, it can be really hard to integrate.
Sure.
And so their English is really, really limited. But we worked out that they wanted to learn to knit, and we got them set up, and we sat and we taught them without really communicating at all with language. And they just got it like that. And there's been so much laughter, despite really not understanding each other, learning about each other's families, and they bring sort of Turkish foods and Turkish sweets and their Turkish tea, and
it's very sociable.
Yeah.
And you know, we're sharing something of our lives, but equally that's reciprocated by what they're bringing in as well. And what really interests me is the reactions of other people. Walking past.
Really good for people in the borders to see, because we can be quite isolated, and you know,
I think the geography of the area is quite isolated, which has contributed to that. Border towns, which you will have seen yourself when you travelled here. The little towns are, you know, there's quite a distance between, and I think that contributes to that at times what can feel insular environment.
Right. That's one of the things that we share with our travelers is we do spend a fair amount of time on the coach bus because the communities that are of great interest to us do, especially in the border towns, tend to be further apart. And, you know, that's how we actually landed in Galashiels, was the Tapestry of Scotland. That's why we were there. And then when we travel, it's like yarn, you know, it's you see a yarn shop and everybody whoosh, you know, heads toward it. And that's how we ended up with you. One of the things that I really wanted to hear you talk about, both of you, if you can, is a little bit about Galashiels and the mill history that's there, and kind of what the contrast is but behind the past and then now where the mills are there, because I know that things have not been so great. The mill, you know, the mill towns are not what they once were, and that has been rather devastating to the local economy and population. Is that right?
Hugely, and I don't think it has ever fully recovered. Do you remember much about the mills?
No, I don't remember anything of the mills. My mum's from down south in England. I'm born and bred here, but I don't have sort of extended family or, you know, grandparents or anything from the area. So I don't personally have a connection to the mills. No, other than I guess growing up around the architecture and seeing the buildings and sort of that side of things, which I've always loved. The big old brick buildings, they're beautiful. I'd love to be able to go walk through them sometime, but
absolutely.
No, you'll have more memories of the mill since your dad was a mill worker.
Absolutely. My family were predominantly mill workers. I grew up in Selkirk, which is one of the neighbouring towns, and I was on a little council estate there, and I would say the vast majority of people on that estate were employed within the mills. And my dad used to talk really fondly about his time in the mills and being able to literally walk out of one door and into another, and he would be guaranteed to have a job. Wow. There was one road in Selkirk, and it was just mill after mill after mill. It drove the economy in this area. There used to be a lot of money in this area. And sadly, the heart's been ripped out of the economy here through the mills and through electronics, which then brought money into the area and again moved on, I'm guessing, because it was cheaper production. It was in other areas. And that's had a devastating effect on the town. And I think for places like Gala and Selkirk, I don't know whether we have ever fully recovered from that. And one of the things for me that has always infuriated me, and I remember when I was at the school, if your family were mill workers, it was almost like it was a lesser occupation. In
No.
fact, it was the opposite. It's highly skilled.
Yeah.
Um, you only need to look at the university now, the heritage of the textiles in Scotland. That wouldn't have existed if it wasn't for people like my
Exactly.
family and countless others
Yeah.
who kept that industry going. Um,
Yeah. That makes perfect sense. That's really sad the way that people look down on labor like that because it is highly skilled and definitely important. But I think you're definitely doing your part in bringing kind of textiles back to the area to some degree. And I want to get to the yarn. I want to see your yarn. Show us your hand dyes. Let's talk about that a little bit.
I'll hold them since you've got a dog.
yeah, you go for it.
That's
Okay,
teamwork.
This is one of Julie's. She took to dyeing like a duck to water, which is infuriating because it took me so long to get good at dyeing. And I showed her, and she just, well, I mean, she's so good with color, so good with color. This is
that
one of her
gunpowder,
first
treason,
ones.
and plot? Is that
This
gunpowder?
one, this one's gunpowder, treason, and plot.
Okay. What's the other one you were
This
showing?
one is burnt embers.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, so burnt embers. It's on our 4-ply. We do a Corriedale and Blueface Leicester blend. So they're both British wools. We wanted to try and keep it British for all those reasons that we just talked about.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm obsessed with Blueface Leicester. It's my favorite fiber. So yeah, Julie's just, I mean, she's incredible with color. This is one of mine that I did recently. It's hard to see in it's peppermint kind of color, and it's got little specklies. So I was kind of
Absolutely
Christmassy.
flew off though.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And we've just recently got in alpaca. So Julie's been playing around with the alpaca, and this was one that she just dyed up. So alpaca's lovely. It's so soft, but it's always a lot more
Colours are more subtle. The spread's greater, isn't it?
Yeah.
Bloom, is that the proper term? As the colours bloom.
Bloom. I love it. And we've talked, I'm gonna hint it. Well, I'm gonna more than hint. Everybody who watches me knows I've got loose lips. So Julie and I have been talking about the possibility of me having some of their yarn here at Olive and 2U, and them having some of Olive and 2U's yarn over in Scotland. So we're working out the details on that because it's fun to kind of do those swappy things and allow everybody to kind of enjoy all the pretty yarn together. I think it'd be fun to do a project with a mix, like some from us, some from you, and kind of hands across the sea, which brings me to something really important. So you all, if you're watching now or watching later, you've probably heard me talk a little bit about Needles Across the Pond. So Needles Across the Pond is an idea where needle yarn shops actually can twin with each other, some in the UK, some here in the US. And we're going to be rolling that out in January with Untangled Yarns in Galashiels. And so we want to talk a little bit about that. You'll have a chance to register for that, whether you're in Scotland or you're in the US. The way it's going to work is you'll register, you'll receive a passport sort of document. And for the entire year, every month, there will be a theme with some information about that theme. And then we're going to have monthly Zooms together with the folks at Untangled Yarns that are participating and with the folks at Olive and 2U. We're going to be doing challenges together. We're going to have some swaps together. We're going to work on a charity project together, and we've got big plans for Needles Across the Pond. And one of the exciting things about it is exactly what Julie was talking about, which is building that community and sharing with each other our culture, our knitting life, or crochet life, whatever needle art you do, you're welcome to be a part of it. There'll be people doing all the needle arts like that, and being able to kind of do that cross-cultural communication and all of that. And, you were talking a moment ago, Kez, about, 4-ply. And that's one of those things that we hope to share with each other is, us in the United States, unless we're well schooled in all things UK, we don't really know what 4-ply means. So, it's learning those kinds of things. So tell us real quick what 4-ply means, since I brought that up.
4-ply is, I think, what you guys call fingering weight,
Okay.
or sock yarn. So it's the thinner than double neck, thicker than lace. I think you guys have sport weight in there as well. Really not very common over here to find sport weight. So yeah, it's kind of between those two.
Yeah. So Julie and I've been talking. In fact, when we were in Galashiels, I actually asked her across the counter, I said, hey, I've had this idea. Are you even remotely interested? And she said, yeah, count me in. And so we've been talking like at least once a month, and
Sounds
sometimes
familiar.
more often, developing this dye. What are your thoughts and hopes about Needles Across the Pond, Julie?
There's an element, I'm very excited. And we're such a new business. I think we have to grab every opportunity that comes along. And I think this is really exciting for us. It goes along with everything that we believe in, the ethos of the shop, about community and connection. And I think, I think it's a fantastic opportunity to grow the shop, to connect with you, to look at different areas of the craft, which we might not have always looked at. Because we all tend to gravitate towards our comfort zone. So I think it's important to explore other areas. And I think this might give us all a little push to move around.
Absolutely. And it will culminate, Needles Across the Pond will culminate for people who are able to go on the trip that we're taking from the United States back over to Scotland in the fall of 2025 with a several-hour meet and greet with the community there at Untangled Yarns to sit in that lovely, warm, welcoming sitting area. We might have to bring up a couple extra chairs and sit and have a cuppa, knit together and meet in person and get to connect that way. So, and if you're not able to travel, that's okay too. There'll be plenty of opportunity to share on Zooms and all sorts of things. But for those that are able to do the trip and travel, it'll be that extra layer of being able to meet and get to know people and all of that. So I'm so excited about coming back to Scotland, coming back to Galashiels, seeing you all in person after we've spent this time developing these relationships. Because that's really what it's all about, right?
It's an exciting way to share our love for the craft with so many people. That I find really exciting. I think because when I was growing up, it was seen as quite a nerdy thing to do. It was it was an old nana thing to do. Whereas now knitting's actually quite trendy, and I love the idea of just spreading that word.
Absolutely. One of the neat things that I like about your shop also, we were talking a little bit about accessibility, is you have really bucked the trend in terms of yarn shops. A lot of yarn shops have kind of only stuck with like hand-dyed yarns, or, kind of specialty and luxury yarns. And I love one of the things that you've done, which is to make it more accessible. So you carry a broad range of products so that more people can actually participate to build that community and so that everybody can kind of be equalized. So can you share a little bit with us about how you've done that so purposefully?
It kind of touches a little bit on the conversation about how the economy has been damaged by past experiences. There's huge differences in disposable income in this area. And it would be lovely to have a shop full of niche brands and 100% wool and indie brands, hand dyes. but we would be excluding so many people from their hobby. And touching on one of the themes for Needles Across the Pond, the wellness aspect of this hobby, it needs to be accessible for everybody. And that was one of the things that really underpinned what we wanted. It underpinned my business plan, that it had to be accessible for everybody.
It's the same. We've got young people as well. And,
yeah,
you know, as young as
strong.
As young as 9, 10, 11, 12. These children don't have their own money.
Right, sure.
They're relying on parents who may also be on lower incomes, may not, but they're relying on other people to give them money to buy these things. If everything is too expensive, they can't continue to sort of grow and evolve. So that's another side of it. We want young people to be able to take part. Again, adults with learning disabilities who may not be able to work, you know, they're relying on very little money as well. All these people deserve to be a part of this. So, you know, our only way to do that is to provide every sort of level of yarn and accessories at all sort of stages. We even have a box of charity yarn, you know, that occasionally we rummage through and go, okay, I'll 10p, 50p donation into the jar, take this ball, you know. It's really important to us.
I think in addition to that, without the younger people who come into the shop, we all know that crafting tends to follow trends, it's peaks and troughs.
Sure. Absolutely.
Without nurturing this younger generation, we will hit that trough again. You need to nurture the younger generations coming through. And do you know, the young guys that come in the shop, they really add to the richness and the of the community that we have, the diversity of community that we have. We've actually got some people in sitting today, and we've got a fantastic bunch of kids that come in here. And whether it's £1, whether it's £2, whether some afternoons they don't spend anything, they are adding. You know, they have worth, they have value to the shop.
Absolutely. And I think that's one of the things that is easy to sense upon entering your shop. You do definitely get the sense that everybody's welcome. There's no kind of dirty looks or, you know, anything like that. And that diversity really does inform that community. And the two of you are very much responsible for that, for the attitudes that you bring to the shop and the way that you manage yourselves, and everybody kind of picks up on that. And I think that's part of developing that wonderful community. So you are absolutely to be congratulated. Good, you know, good things are happening there. And I love your perspective because, you know, there's tons of yarn shops across the globe and everyone has their own particular flavor, their own skills and ideas that they come to bear on that. And you have done such a great job bringing your own values to inform the community. And so I just absolutely love that about both of you and what you're doing there in Galashiels. And I look forward to a future with the two of you and continuing our conversations and bringing our communities together. So we'll just add that much more flavor to the pot, that much more richness to the pot. So a couple things. I'm going to open it up now. This is always the scary part. So if our audience that's here in person have any questions, feel free to put them in the comment section. I see one. Is there a Facebook page or Insta page to follow your shop? And I will say there is both. And the link is already in the show notes, I believe. If it's not yet, I'll make sure that it's there. But it is definitely there. Is it Untangled Yarns Ltd? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. And you have a website as well, correct?
We do, yeah. I was going to say we're both really guilty of not updating it. I am an absolute technophobe. So I leave the updating to Alistair and Kez because I can't. It's that simple.
It's a lot of work to continue to update those things, but you have a great presence there and you're definitely growing. So absolutely, Tracy, there is both a Facebook page, an Instagram page, and then of course you can visit their website. The links should be in the show notes. We'll make absolutely sure they are there. So let's see, do we have any other questions for Julie and Kez? I'm just so tickled you're here. I'm so happy that you both were able to be here. I'm looking behind you. You've got this awesome stove behind you. What is that?
Yeah.
Julie's spinning wheel that
Yes.
gets loads of use.
And all her free time.
To be fair, my spinning wheel at home gets used a bit more. It's a work in progress.
Yeah, definitely so. But I love that stove. And whenever I see you, you usually have a cuppa in your hand. I noticed both of you had a cuppa today. So I can't get my Brody's Scottish breakfast right now. I could get it when I first came back, and now it's like on hiatus here in America. So I'm dying about that. So, oh, good. Tracy said that she just found the pages and that she's following you now. So that's awesome.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
All the links should be in the show notes. You can check out Untangled Yarns Ltd in Galashiels, and then of course Olive and 2U Studios. The links are there for you as well. And I know, do you have a community page on Facebook, or you haven't quite done that yet?
Not yet, no.
Not yet. Okay.
No.
So
we're doing well to have a Facebook page.
I understand completely. But over time, as we roll out Needles Across the Pond, that's coming in January of 2025, we'll probably have a private Facebook group for those members so that they'll be able to chat in the Facebook group and connect with one another. We've got big plans for Needles Across the Pond. We do. And so we're super excited about it. And then remember that will culminate for those who are able to travel to Scotland and actually meet folks in person. I can't wait to be back in your shop. And I'm excited that this time you'll know that we're coming, because we kind of ran right over you when we showed up before.
It was one of the buzziest hours I've ever had in the shop.
That's what the yarn
I really enjoyed it, as busy and as mad as it was. It was great fun.
Definitely fun. And you've had a couple orders, I think, from our Yarn Use since, haven't you, or no?
We've had people contacting us and making inquiries, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's wonderful. I love that. You know, it makes the globe smaller when we have things in common and we can share together in that way. All right, you guys, I always ask people before they go if they have any parting shots or parting comments. So any other things you'd like to share with us whilst you're here?
Good. It all just, for me, it just all seems a wee bit surreal. A couple of years ago, I was probably in my bed after a night shift. To be here sitting on a podcast just seems so surreal to me. So, we're so happy. Just keep on winging it.
That's all any of us can do, right? That's all I've done for 7 years. I think Olive and 2U has been in business about as long as Kez has been knitting. So that's, So that's interesting. 7 years feels like a lot in some ways, and then like a very short time in other ways. I'm sure you agree. Karen, who actually is right outside of Glasgow, said looking forward to Tangled Galashiels next year. That's the fiber show there in Galashiels. Is that right?
Yeah, I think we're a venue next year.
Yeah. When we came over, you were just advertising for it. It was like getting ready to happen, I think. So we weren't able to attend, but it was really exciting to hear about all the things happening there. So thank you, ladies, so much for being with me. I'm so grateful for this. And I look forward to continuing the conversation and to Needles Across the Pond happening starting in January. So if you're in Scotland and you're part of the Untangled Yarns community, or if you're not yet and you want to be, get hooked up with them so that you can participate, register with Untangled Yarns and Galashiels for Needles Across the Pond. If you're on this side of the pond, on the American side, be sure to join our Yarn Use group, subscribe to our newsletter so you too can get connected and be part of Needles Across the Pond, so that we can connect and share with each other across that great big pond we call the ocean. All right, you all, thank you so much for being with us, and we'll be in touch. Take care.
Take care. Bye.
That was absolutely fabulous. I love Julie and Kez both. It was fantastic having them here. They have been so much fun to be talking to over the intervening months since we were right there in Scotland. And I'll just mention again, we, the Yarning Youths, are traveling to Scotland in the fall of 2025. So the link is down below in the show notes. If you're interested in that trip, we've made it easy for you to make payments to make it more affordable. To go over, we'll be leaving in September and then coming back home to the United States in October of 2025. One of the places we'll be visiting is Untangled Yarns in Galashiels, as we mentioned. And then we have multiple other visits on the docket, including For the Love of Yarn in Glasgow, Ardalanish on the Isle of Mull, Iona to the Iona Craft Shop, and multiple other things being offered during that time. Very fiber-centric, but if you've got people in your family who want to travel with you, there's plenty to keep them involved as well. I know some of the guys talk about their informal pub crawls and all the fun things to do. So we're looking forward to that, and it's going to be a lot of fun. All right, really quickly, I want to share some other things that are happening at Olive and 2U Studios right now. If you received your newsletter this morning, you know some of the things that we have unveiled. And if you haven't yet received your newsletter, I invite you to subscribe. Just go to our website, www.oliveand2u.com, and the pop-up will come up that you can subscribe to the newsletter. Our Solely Socks event is happening January 25th, right here in Winter Park, Florida. And we are busting over at the seams already. Registrations have started happening since we made it live on the website yesterday. If you are even remotely interested in knitting socks, you are more than welcome to come. We're going to have people here with their circular sock machines. If you have one, even if it's in the back of a closet and you haven't touched it for a while, we encourage you to bring it. And we're going to be cranking socks, hand knitting socks. There's going to be a sock blank dye experience, so you can dye your very own double knit sock blank. There's going to be multiple demonstrations happening, including making toys and stuffies out of crank tubes on CSMs, including a Flegel heel, a toe-up cast-on, all kinds of demonstrations and things like that so that you can be involved in learning socks. So that's exciting as well. And we're going to have a self-striping yarn bar. We have a dyer from Canada. My yarn is almost here. It's on its way from Canada. Beautiful self-striping colors. And we're going to do a self-striping yarn bar as well. We have a lunch option from Panera also, and everybody who registers and comes is going to get an event tote bag. There'll be a few little things in the bag. It's not just a bag, but that'll be part of your registration. We do have limited space, so I really encourage you to register as soon as possible to be sure that you get in on the event. And when you register, you can either just register for the event itself, which is $25, really affordable. That gets you the bag, and you can stay all day. The event is from 8 to 5 p.m., 8 in the morning to 5 p.m. in the evening, and it's going to be a full day of fun. You can also elect to choose 1 serving or 2 servings. We're doing it like an ice cream bar from the self-striping yarn bar, and you're going to be able to get for each serving a hank of beautiful self-striping yarn of your choosing. You're going to get I don't remember if it's 2 or 3 minis, honestly. It's on the listing. And then some sprinkles, 3 sprinkles, which will be things like stitch markers and small tools and those sorts of things. So that's 1 serving, and then you can elect to do 2 servings. If you register for that at registration, then you're going to get a pretty significant discount on doing your self-striping yarn bar. If there's yarn left when you get here, we'll absolutely let you do that as well when you're here locally, but there's a limited amount of self-striping yarn, so it's better to go ahead and register for that in advance. So that's available right now on the website. Registrations are already coming in. That's going to be January 25th right here in Winter Park, Florida. The link is down below in your show notes. You'll be able to see it. Okay, I want to give you a peek of what is new in the shop this week. And one of the things I'm going to do is give you a sneak peek at the Salinger Pop Club colorway because it is absolutely divine. So if you haven't gotten your Salinger Pop Club yet, you might want to look away if you don't want to see it. I love, love, love this colorway so incredibly much. So I want to show it. Now we'll be opening up Salinger Pop Club again very soon. So if you've not been able to participate, very soon you'll be able to register to participate. It's a very affordable club. This is Baba Ganoush. Baba, can I do that like a sheep? Baba Ganoush. It is a beautiful split mini. It's gorgeous. Let me just unravel it here and show it to you. There it is. It's a split hank, so you've got this really deep, rich purple. That is not black. That is a really deep, rich purple on this side. And over here, you've got these gorgeous speckles that go right along with it. It is beautiful. Now, I will tell you, I have already asked our dyers to go ahead and make us some giant hanks of Baba Ganoush. So stay tuned because that will be coming to you very soon in the shop. Terry and Sherry are busy dyeing up. We've got all kinds of gorgeous new yarn. I don't know if I can do this on here. I might have to wait. Let's see. Can I do it? It's a little bit of a mess. I'll have to do that later. But that's Baba Ganoush. That's coming to you if you haven't got already and you're in the Salinger Pop Club. But stay tuned because if you're not in the Salinger Pop Club, we're going to open that up to you soon. Couple other things I want to show you. I did a full shop update video. You can go to the playlist here on the YouTube channel and click shop up. The playlist is shop updates and see it all. So I'm just going to briefly show you. This is beautiful and just in time for Christmas. This is All the Buzz. Look at those sparkles of All the Buzz. Silver stellina in this yarn. You've got some rich purples, some lighter purples, and then this beautiful gold color here. So it's all on sock weight yarn. It's gorgeous. It's got nylon in it. It's perfect for socks. You can do it for shawls, whatever you want to use it for. But Terry and Sherry dyed this colorway up and it is beautiful. All the Buzz right there. And then we unveiled our tweed collection for the winter. And it's all beautiful. I'm going to show you briefly. These are gorgeous, gorgeous tweeds, and they are Donegal tweeds. So they are definitely paying homage to Irish roots with these beautiful tweeds. So really quickly, we've got avocado, chili pepper, blueberry, maple sugar, mouse gray. This is one of my favorites, that mouse gray. And then another one of my favorites, oatmeal. Beautiful, beautiful tweeds, and the tweed neps, the nylon neps are just beautiful in there. You've got shades of beiges, shades of blacks, absolutely gorgeous. These are all available on the website right now, and I'm super excited to have them. I want to show you really quickly too. Sherry made me some socks, and these are socks in All the Buzz. I'm so excited to wear them. She made these heel tab socks for me. And they've got those silver sparkles, and you can see that pseudo stripy effect that All the Buzz offers in a small circular project. So look at that, how pretty it is. It's actually a little darker in person than it's showing up on camera, but you'll be able to see the better colors right there on the website by clicking the link. That's All the Buzz. Got my peppermint bark here. Next up, that's brand new in the shop, is so excited about this. The Gnomes of Grimblewood book is finally in the shop. And my little friends right over here, these are some gnomes that Mary Nielsen knit up. Aren't they adorable? These are gnomes from Sarah Shira. And this is the book I was promising you is coming. How beautiful is this? It's really affordable, beautiful directions and photos. The thing that I love about this book and about what Sarah Shira does in terms of the gnomes is that she has basically a whole academy online in videos to teach you the skills that you need to know for these gnomes. They're not hard skills. They're not difficult skills. If you can knit and purl, you can absolutely do the gnomes. Plus, they're great for stash busting because they use up scraps for the most part, or yarns that you have actually in your stash already. You can always buy more yarn, but absolutely, they're great to use for leftovers that you have. Look how cute they are. And I love all the various sizes. I mean, you've got this little tiny guy here. Just love them so much. This little tiny guy with the addition of like little stitch markers and little embellishments. And then you've got the larger guys with all their little details, the little beard, the little shoes, They're just absolutely adorable. So you can make yourself a whole Nomi tribe. How cool is that? So great for stash busting, great for using leftover yarns and all those sorts of things. So the Gnome of Grimblewood books are finally here. They were back ordered for a while. They were super popular and back ordered, but right now you can get it in the shop. Just click the link below. You'll be able to get it and we'll ship it right out to you. So all the exciting things happening there. Now, if you signed up and you got our 8 Nights of Hanukkah and 12 Days of Christmas, those boxes have been shipped out to you. Here's the 12 Days of Christmas box. It's already gone out, as well as the, I'm sorry, that's the 8 Nights of Hanukkah box. I got my holidays confused. 12 Days of Christmas is right here for you. Those have gone out. I know some of you are trying to resist the urge of opening all the things now. It's really up to you. You could open it now all at one time or do the openings with us. I'll be doing openings right here on our YouTube channel every single day of the 8 Nights of Hanukkah and 12 Days of Christmas, beginning on December 25th, which incidentally is not only Christmas Day, but it's also the first night of Hanukkah, which begins at sundown. So we're going to do those simultaneously because they overlap a little bit this year. So turns out I'll be traveling on Christmas Day. So my husband and I are heading up to Maine for Christmas this year. We're leaving on Christmas Day, returning on New Year's Day, but there will be a video right here for you at 9:30 in the morning on Christmas Day with the very first day of opening. And then we'll continue on with the videos throughout. I had promised you that if you got the boxes, there would be some additional content, and there is. If you want to scan your code that's inside your insert, there's already a little something for you on the website to read and kind of get ready for your tropical Hanukkah and your tropical Christmas. So those pages have been updated and they're ready for you to go. So, Tracy said that little stitch marker got her on the gnome. Aren't the gnomes the cutest thing? I love it so much. And Kim said that she put her box in her sewing and knitting room to wait for me to open. It's a lot of fun to open it kind of together and share what's in it. You know that you receive yarn and then you receive some extra goodies in there as well, some little notions or tools and that sort of thing for the 8 Nights of Hanukkah and 12 Days of Christmas. The good news is we've got extras this year because we planned ahead. Every year, there are people who kind of come into the audience after we put those on pre-sale, and we wanted to make sure that some were available. So if you have an interest in getting one of those boxes and you did not sign up in advance, you can simply shoot me an email. I'll put them up on the website very soon as well. Actually, they are on the website. That's right. I did put them on the website. So they're there now, and you're able to just search 8 Nights of Hanukkah or 12 Days of Christmas and go ahead and order your box. There's like 1 or 2 of each available. So you want to do that pretty quickly. And then you too will be able to participate in the openings right here on the YouTube channel. It's always a lot of fun, but we wanted to make sure, and we'll get those shipped right out to you. We've got some heavy shipping to do on Monday. So we'll get them absolutely shipped out to you. Lots of great yarn in the shop right now. Aren't these tweeds awesome? I love what Lonesome Pine Yarn Works is dyeing up for Olive and 2U. They are now the exclusive dyer behind Olive and 2U Studios. I'm very excited about the beautiful colors that they have coming out in January. We've got a lot more colors hitting the shop as well. All the buzz. It looks like everybody loves all the buzz. You don't want to be the one without all the buzz. And there's a decent amount of it in the shop, so you'll be able to get the quantity that you need. So it is all there waiting for you with all the fun that we have in the Yarn I Use. All right, everybody, we are Olive and 2U Studios. We're here every single Saturday morning at 9:30 in the morning Eastern Time. If you haven't already done so, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and go ahead and hit the bell for notifications so that you can be notified every single time we're live here. Go back and look at the past videos. It's all really good stuff. I've been doing more interviews with people. We interviewed Jamie Mayfield from True Knit, Circular Sock Machines, and then Becky Beagle from Nomadic Knits. You know, Knitmas is starting to happen soon. I know many of you have already gotten your kits and you're ready to go for Knitmas. That's very exciting. I think she still has kits on sale in her shop, so you can get ready for Knitmas. And then we do have information coming about our Christmas cast on. It's a cowl this year, and it's coming to us from Karen Burnett, who is a wonderful Scottish designer. So that's going to be getting out to you very soon. I'm just going to tell you now, it's going to be DK weight. You're going to want to have on hand either 2 full hanks of DK or a full hank of DK and then some Hawthorne minis to go with that. You can absolutely shop the shop and we'll get those shipped right out to you. I don't have a whip segment. Thank you so much for everybody reminding me of that. I knew we were going to go a little long with Untangled Yarns and Galashiels. And so this week we don't have a whip segment, but I'm still going to be doing whips periodically. So keep posting in the Yarn to Use. I love seeing what you're up to. It's always so much fun to see what everybody is working on. Absolutely. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Please do like and share the podcast. Give us a thumbs up. It's one of those ways that you can really help a small business without spending a dime. Just give us a thumbs up. So thank you very much. And we'll see you in the Yarn to Use. Take care. Bye-bye.